The democracy revolt, and the government is urging citizens to turn in protesters who resist the assault on Tiananmen Square. CNN's Tom Mentir is joining us live on the phone now from Beijing. Tom?
Patrick, if you are a college student or someone who sympathized with the pro-democracy movement, it is a time for running and hiding, not only in Beijing, but all over China. The Communist Party's Discipline Inspection Commission, or the secret police, are out in full force, calling on the 47 million party members to turn in anyone who may have been involved. Here in Canton, you can see people lined up against the wall who have been picked up by the police and brought in for questioning, or even worse, detention, or possibly even something beyond that, possible elimination. The same situation not only in Canton but in Shanghai as well. Student leaders rounded up by the police throughout the city and being brought in. This is something that has occurred in the last 24 hours, just about every major city in China. And some were not around to be brought up. Liu Xiaobao, Wang Dan rather, was a student leader who was on the square most of the time, reportedly was shot in the square during the takeover and then bayoneted by soldiers as he lay on the ground. There are others who are missing. This is a scene from a hunger strike which began shortly before the takeover of the square. Liu Xiaobao, a famous poet, was arrested Tuesday night here in Beijing by unidentified men in a white car who picked him up and drove away. Another student who was seen by most Americans as he met with Li Peng, Wu Kai-si, was supposedly, information we have, an ambulance was called for him on the square, that he supposedly needed oxygen at the same time. This is while the soldiers were moving in the square. You see him sitting in that chair on the right. He is the one who did most of the talking and most of the direct confrontation with Li Peng during their meeting. Li Peng was seen in public for the first time on CCTV, the Chinese television broadcast here, addressing the troops in the Great Hall of the People, telling them what a wonderful job they had done in taking the square back from the students. Despite reports that he had been shot in the leg, he seemed to be moving around and walking well, but a clear indication that Li Peng is back out in front and that the control structure at the top of the party is in full force, with the hardliners taking the reins. The state-run television also broadcasts telephone numbers in the evening newscasts and throughout the day, and special reports for people to call if they would like to turn in someone. These are the phone numbers as they were broadcast on China Central Television last night here, and the phone lines are probably ringing because people are being picked up all over the streets. Also, the propaganda organ is cranking out their own version of what has happened in Tiananmen Square, reportedly early on saying no one was killed. The troops of the 27th were moved out and others were brought in to clean things up, turning in, many of them, their weapons and taking brooms and cleaning up the streets. The propaganda is almost non-stop between programs here. People seen pulling trucks away that have been disabled during the confrontation on the square, and cleaning up the debris that was left by 2 nights of serious rioting. There was also some pictures shown of soldiers helping a lady who apparently was injured during the confrontation, helping her across the street. So the forces that are picking people up are spreading out throughout the countryside and in Beijing itself. There have been reports of many neighborhoods where the police have been paying visits at all hours of the day and night, and it is expected to continue for the next few days while the unrest in this country continues to run from border to border. Tom Mentir, CNN, reporting live from Beijing.